Another point I want to talk about is arguing. When you argue with people, you always lose. The thing about arguing, it's kind of a human flaw. It's something in our brain where if I tell somebody the sky is blue and they tell me no, the sky is red, and I start arguing with them, I could walk them outside, tell them to look up, I could point their head up physically, and they are still going to argue with me. And I'm the same way. A lot of people are the same way, where if you argue with them, you lose. You lose instantly, so you should not argue with customers. Debating is okay. Arguing is not okay. And there are times where people come in and they're looking for an argument. They're expecting an argument, and they're expecting that I'm going to disagree with them in an argumentative fashion, and they expect that they're going to get a certain reaction out of me, which is then going to confirm their decision to either be mad, to not use us, to blame us for things that we didn't do. And I try to disarm them through not arguing back with them. Let's give a couple of examples. I've given this example in a couple other videos. Some guy comes in with the machine is not booting. It's a hard drive cable issue. We charge $125 for that. Again, you can have whatever opinion you want of my pricing scheme. My pricing scheme is set the way it is because we are in New York. Nice apartments are $6,000. Nice lunch is $19. You know, again, you just get ripped off everywhere here. And unfortunately, since I am being ripped off on a regular basis, I have to pass just a little bit of that onto the customer. But I digress. We call with the options, and this guy legitimately had my receptionist in tears. I mean, he talked to her for 15 minutes. She was in tears before she transferred the call to me, and I said, watch. She thought I was going to curse him out. I was going to argue with him. He was expecting me to argue with him and, go off on all this other crap. I said, just watch how we do this. He wasn't going to spend any money. He's just like, I've done everything. I've talked to him for 15 minutes. I don't know what you're going to do different. I said, just watch. He's like, well, I don't understand the pricing because Apple said for less money than that, for $100 or something, they're going to give me a new drive and a drive cable. And he has a terabyte drive. Now, a lot of technicians at this point are going to argue. A lot of technicians at this point are going to argue and go, that's not possible, or Apple's not doing that, or that pricing is wrong, or they're giving you a crappier drive, or they're going to do it slower than us. They're going to argue about some stupid shit. And again, when you argue, even if you're right, you are wrong because of how the human brain is wired. And I never argue. I truly never argue. I said, I wish I had known that before. I feel terrible. I honestly feel terrible about the whole situation. And he goes, why? What do you mean? And I go, well, my business is based on not wasting people's time. It's based on saving people time. And here I've obviously wasted your time because you didn't have to sign in here. You didn't have to leave the machine for a few hours. You didn't have to have a 10, 15-minute phone conversation with us with the options. Again, I can hear that you have stuff going on in the background, so I don't know if you're at work or whatever or at a party, but we've clearly wasted your time in this situation since you have such a better deal going at Apple. He's expecting me to argue with him. You can clearly tell in the voice. And again, also with the fact that he had my receptionist in tears, that this guy just likes to argue and he kind of expects arguing back. And I don't argue, and he's like, oh. And I go, yeah, I mean, honestly, Apple's a much better deal than us in this case. And also, one of the things Apple's going to do is they're going to warranty the whole machine after a depot repair, where we're just warrantying the cable. So if your drive dies one day after you leave our store, you're going to have to pay for a drive. But with them, your optical drive or your screen could die, and you're not going to have to pay for it because it'll be within a warranty that covers your whole machine. They are a much better deal in this case. And he's like, oh. And I go, yeah. All you got, just have your backup ready and you're set. And I swear, it was like a Casper the Ghost voice. He goes, back up. I'm like, yes, you're backup because didn't they tell you? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, they don't save your data. Not only do they not save your data in this process, but they demand to have your old drive back, and they do not give that to you, and they throw that in e-waste, recycling, garbage, trash, or they return it to the vendor. Whatever they do, you don't get that back. But you should be fine. And he goes, what do you mean? And seriously, after he made my receptionist cry, again, I'm not one to enjoy reveling in people's pain. I want them to realize their pain so that they make the right decision or they spend money. I don't actually want to revel in it, but here, I am reveling in this guy's pain. Like the fact that I have him by the balls, I have a smile on my face because he was an asshole. You don't make a grown woman cry by being a gentleman. You make a grown woman cry by being a prick, which is what this guy is. But I digress. I go, well, yeah, I mean, you got Time Machine on here. Again, you probably know how to use that. It's the easy, like, unlike other machines, Apple includes these very, very simplistic tools with their computers that allow making a backup like nothing. So you just, once they're done with the repair, which you're going to save a lot of money on versus hours, and you're going to get a better warranty on, you plug your backup in, you run Migration Assistant. I'll walk you through it. I feel bad that we wasted your time, so I'm going to walk you through how to do that with Migration Assistant, and your computer will be just back to the way it was before. Time Machine? He sounded like Casper the fucking ghost. I mean, I could just see his face turning white over the phone. You didn't go to Apple because, and beside the fact that they don't have that pricing for a terabyte drive and a cable, they would have told you about the no data thing. And B, you don't have a backup. What I did there is I showed him a vision of his own pain, and and through questions, not through telling him that he needs to use this, through questions and through basic explanations, I made him come to that vision on his own. You can't take your vision and put it into your customer's head. Again, those blogs, those AdSense-driven blogs where they're telling you, like, you tell them it's easier and it's cheaper and you're saving the environment and it's better to repair rather than buy new. All that bullshit that they're teaching you how to present to the customer from their world. You never do that. You work on the customer's world. In this customer's world, he doesn't have a backup, and he has some information on that drive that whatever, if it's sentimental pictures of his children that he doesn't have anywhere else, or it's his work that he's going to get thousands of dollars for, whatever it is, he needs that shit that's on his corrupted partition that Apple is not going to help him with, and he's going to pay for it. And I go, well, yeah, you don't have a backup, and he's like, no. I'm like, oh, yeah, so. Well, I mean, I'm not arguing. Again, he's so pissed off that we cost this much for a cable that I don't even think that he wants to spend money. I'm like, well, yeah. But when you consider the money, they are still a good deal. Like, do you really need the data that's there? I mean, it can't be that important if you didn't have a backup of it. He's like, oh, I'll just go ahead. Like, what do you mean go ahead? I mean, go ahead and give it back to you so you can go to Apple? No, just go ahead. I'll pay the $125. Just go ahead and do it. Ha, ha, ha. That cable was $5, and that $120 of profit, because you made my receptionist cry, made me feel very, very good. And I made sure to take my receptionist out to nice dinner at a nice restaurant a couple of blocks from the store, the one that I went to tonight to get the nice iced tea from. And because I felt that she should share in this a little bit. And she's kind of laughing and giggling and smiling because I got this whole shit on speakerphone. Because, again, you made the receptionist cry. Now I am going to listen. Now I'm going to let her listen to me kind of making you cry. And, again, not through being mean. Not through arguing, through not arguing. You don't want to argue with people. And the same holds true if you fix something and it doesn't work. This is something that happens all the time, and it's a natural response from technicians. Like, the customer calls and they're like, you fix my phone and it doesn't work right now. The average technician was like, what's your name? They look up the ticket, and they're like, well, funny. I mean, it says in the notes that everything worked when you left. It seems like the technician tested it. It seemed like you signed the form when you left. It said, I left with a working device. They get defensive. Being defensive is a form of arguing. Being defensive does not work. Again, in the first situation, even though I'm not sorry, I'm sorry I wasted your time. In this situation, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to go through all this crap, even if I did test it. Even if I tested every fucking function of that phone before you left, I'm going to say, honestly, it's Friday night. I mean, if it were me and it were Friday night and I was trying to contact people to set up an appointment to do something and my phone didn't work, I would walk back to that phone repair shop and I would kick me square in the balls. What this does is it takes them out of that argumentative mindset. It shows it shows them that you are not argumentative, and it gets past the emotional bullshit and the emotional crap and allows you to actually discuss the issue. Because if you're in that defensive mode, for all you know, that phone works perfectly and they have like a piece of lint from their pocket stuck in the fucking power button. Do you really want to go on a 40-minute rant and tirade on the phone and get a bad review and have a chargeback because of a piece of fucking lint in their pocket? No. Don't be argumentative. It doesn't work. Don't be defensive. Even if you feel defensive, don't allow that to come off to the customer. So I'll say, again, to disarm them, I'll go, I truly would walk back here and kick me in the balls. If I spent $100 on this phone and something didn't work, I would come back here and just smack me in the face with a 2x4. I'm truly sorry that this happened. Bring it back and let me see what I can do. Again, one of my favorite phrases, see what I can do. Did I say I'm going to fix it for free? No. I'm going to see what I can do. Did I say that I'm going to replace your power button for free just because I replaced your screen? Again, Apple phones, like these power buttons are made with fucking winter fresh gum. They fall apart after 6 months even if you never use it. No, I said I'm going to see what I can do. I'm not purposely being vague to be a prick. Again, if there's a piece of lint in it, I'm more than happy to blow it out, and I may even stay an extra 10 minutes late so you can come back for me to do that. But I'm not replacing it for free if you're a prick. No, that's why I see what I can do. Again, don't be argumentative. Always leave the door open to talk and have proper discussions with people. You do that by not being argumentative, because when you argue with people, you are always wrong. The sky can be blue. They can tell you it's red. You argue with them, you are wrong. Don't argue, because again, as I've said with the other videos, when you're dealing with people, when you're trying to fix things, when you're trying to deal with vendors, you can't be thinking with your you can't be taking action based on your emotions. It never ever works. You want to be taking action based on your brain. And one of the core things that I'm trying to teach you, one of the core things, the core parts of my sales ethics, my sales procedures, is to always be making decisions with my brain, to be making decisions with logic, to have customers make decisions with logic instead of emotions. Instead of thinking about how paranoid they are that I may have been trying to rip them off, I want them to be thinking about whether or not this is a repair that they should be doing. So I try to take that out of the equation completely. Again, I'm always giving them opportunity to say, no, I don't want this done. It's not because I don't want money. It's not because I don't want business. It's because I want the customer's decisions, and I want our conversation, and I want how I deal with them to be based on logic, on reason, on, well, I guess names of audio production software. But I want our conversations to be based on thinking. I don't want it to be based on emotions and other silly, frivolous crap, and on arguments, and on I'm right and you're wrong, and I spent money and you're wrong. I want it to be, and you don't get that when you argue. So try to avoid arguing as much as you can, even when you know damn well that you are right. Disarm people by not arguing with them when they are, especially when they're looking for an argument, because that's when people want to argue back. The customer comes in and they're yelling and they're screaming and they're bitching, and that's when you're going to want to argue the most. And again, the whole thing about when somebody's pushing at you really hard and you push back, like nobody wins. But when somebody's pushing at you really hard and you just let go, like you ever play that game Mercy as a kid, like where you're trying to twist the other kid's arm and you try to get them to say mercy by twisting into a certain position? You ever actually do that, and then like they're pushing as hard as they can, you just let go and they fall down? The same happens with arguing. When somebody comes in and they're screaming and they're mad and they want to kill you, and you don't argue back at all, mentally and emotionally, they trip. And that tripping allows you to gain the upper hand, to start working based on logic and reason and facts and thinking instead of on emotions. And that's how good decisions, that's how long-term sales, that's how long-term business relationships that work are created.